Don't Starve Together's newest update to Staying Afloat is filled to the brim, everyone, meaning we didn't get the opportunity to delve deeper into the individual pools of content like we would like. But enter a video like this, and the number should reign supreme, and we'll start with the Queen of Green herself, Wurt. After I briefly mentioned how Clay changed Insight months ago and I never told ya, but it's way less taxing on our time now. But speaking of, a lot of these early perks today come down to exactly that. Time. Take the 2 stages of mental fluidity here, for example. At level 1, we can expect low wetness thresholds to return 1 sanity to us per minute passed, but as wetness grows, that drops to but 1 sanity every 15 seconds, which ain't bad already. But it gets slightly better once mental fluidity 2 is selected, as suddenly low wetness thresholds are already far faster than before, with it all coming to a wet head at 1 sanity per 10 seconds or so, as you can see. And you best get used to seeing that blue meter, as the rest of our amphibian tree ain't slowing it down. Not unless you're all-weather scales, that is. For you see, not only does the skill significantly reduce how much temperature drop we will see as we get more and more moist, it sneakily slows how fast we dry off around any heat sources as well. And we ain't just talking a slight reduction here either. It's bloody night and day, folks. But you know what isn't all that different from another upgrade within this tree? Hydra's Healing 1 and 2. Why and how? Simple. While these 2 skills will choose to return health to Wurt over sanity, the actual regeneration effects are practically identical to mental fluidity, and 1 health every 10 to 30 seconds is pretty damn insane, honestly, so do with all this as you wish. But to wrap up our first branch comes Slippery Hide here, and I finally know how it bloody works thanks to our resident coder, Nico. At level 1, each point of damage taken is multiplied by roughly 3.3, and that's how much of our wetness meter will drain, and come level 2, that multiplier falls to 2 per 1 point of damage taken, so make notes there. And yes, any additional armors at play will all come into play, so theoretically Wurt can be made invincible as long as she maintains high wetness. It's honestly bonkers once it's put into practice. But one last true note, both Slippery Hide and Hydra's Healing see Wurt gain passive wetness on her new affinity turfs, so take advantage. But as we continue here, it should be no surprise that she's gonna get most of her love from her own domain. The Swamp Master branch is next, and it's sure to generate the most buzz, as it all starts with Little Itchy here, crafted from 1 mosquito sack and a beefalo fur, and this little guy is our ticket to insect immunity, just as long as we hold on to him within our inventories. The doll will last for 8 days, so enjoy the freedom, but the true fun begins with Itchcraft 1, as with this comes 3 unique mosquito crafts, like the Skeeter Bomb here. Costing 4 bugs to make, it shouldn't surprise anyone that when you toss it, it's gonna release 4 mosquitoes, but what might surprise you is that its 59 damage per explosion is also gonna hurt you. Oh, and while they're technically not followers, do anticipate them following you wherever you go. But they're also non-hostile to everything but hostiles, so that's pretty nice. But just how nice will these buzzers be in battle? Nothing grand at 3 damage apiece, wild aggro, low health, and a literal annoyance of having to hear them, but when they themselves explode from too much blood sucking, they do deal 34 damage a pop, so that's not terrible, especially on some medium level mobs. And when you factor in that this explosion no longer hurts us or our followers, they're just kinda added bonuses, right? To continue though, Wurt introduces a new way to distribute nutrients to our farm plots and fertilizer here, and it's honestly rather solid, providing 12 of each nutrient per use, which ranks it pretty high on that scale there. And lastly, blood shots are an exclusive healing mechanic that will heal Wurt for a mere 16 health per use, but patch up our fish friends by 100 each, also stopping them from running away too damn much. It's all not too shabby, but it gets way better with Itchcraft 2, as not only will it let you catch mosquitoes by hand, but Skeeter Bombs will now drop 5 bugs over 4, blood shots will inject their initial heals, but now a healing over time effect will kick in for both Wurt and Merms for 10 seconds, and lastly, fertilizer will now provide 20 nutrients per, which is stellar. So enjoy. But for most, the true fun is gonna start with the King's questline. For you see, not only are all 3 of these skills going to provide buffs themselves, they're gonna ask us to provide our King with the proper equipment. The Pauldron quest requires a marble suit before its effects kick in, but once they do, we can expect all Merms to have an additional 15% armor protection when wearing any type of headgear, with Wurt herself netting 10% herself. The Crown quest is next, and we will will need to fork over a full sight one to unlock some benefits, like granting all merms the ability to dodge attacks every 10 seconds and losing 5% less sanity around monsters as Wurt. You know, because that's somehow relevant. But finally, the Trident quest is self-explanatory and not only grants all merms a 5% damage boost, including Wurt, but gives loyal guards a 33% chance to triple attack at 26.3 damage a hit. Cool stuff. As next comes a few quick ones that aren't quite as neat in my opinion, starting with the 3 King Hunger skills that will all combine to raise his hunger to 300 overall eventually and slow his hunger drain by 15%. Next is a perk that grants all those near Wurt a 30% speed boost while they themselves are on marsh turf, which again is nothing grand. And last is Sensible Swamp Fighter, which is easily the best out of this bunch as it saves your loyal guards from further harm once their health drops below 25% overall, and know that this is how Clay intends for us to use those bloodshots. But now comes all the merm army nonsense. Community feeder skills come together to reduce the respawn timers of those merms within their radii by 50% at their highest efficiencies, while also being able to instantly gather nearby hordes to instantly recruit large groups at the cost of really 1 or 2 kelp. Industrious merm skills lead to 2 tool sheds that can be forever renewed with rocks and twigs in order to arm regular merms with tools of varying efficiencies and durabilities that they can then use to chop, mine, and till with. And finally, the hard-headed perks lead to the Armories that provide helmets to loyal guards that have a 30% damage reduction, and once they're upgraded to the next shed, that will be bumped up to 50%. Take advantage. But to wrap it all up here comes their lunar and shadow merm affinities that push the extremes for sure. Using Moonglass of any sorts will transform both merm types into a mutated one that will increase merm guard health specifically, while also providing a damage reflection mechanic that seems to deal a respectable 40 a pop. But that's not all. With pure brilliance in hand, Wurt can then cast the spell out of nowhere to turn all merm types into planar having ones for about half a day. It's spooky stuff, but perhaps not quite as scary as the prospect of having a shadow merm swarm after you just thought you killed them all, which just so happens to be her first shadow perk. All merms resurrect into exact copies of themselves, which is just nuts to think about in actual combat. But tack on how shadow mudslingers lead to 2 minutes of pure shadow hentai destruction of anything they attack, and it will be hard to choose which is best, as the lunar mudslinger here can also create hordes of planar merms instantly, while also creating enlightenment areas anywhere she pleases, just as long as you can wait out the 8-minute cooldown per mudslinger. But enjoy it all, as there you have it everyone, a closer look at Wurt's new skill tree without having to feel too fishy about all the pacing, and allowing me to give you the actual numbers. But if you've discovered more, let us know. But I think that just about does it. Thanks for watching folks, well wishes to all, Florp-glorp, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.